We're back in the studio again today with our third and final segment with Dr. Parker. Dr. Parker, sleep deprivation. We talked about the totality of the patient, looking at their mind physically, what they're doing, what they're eating, how their metabolism is. How does sleep affect a person's ability to function?
Well, one of the encouraging things about what's going on in psychiatry today is the fact that we have fantastic technology that's come up to play so we can actually measure mind function. We can measure body function. So we're really looking at biologic variables in a way we've never looked at them before. We just came in and you have a complaint, I'm going to treat that symptom. You know, you have a white shirt on, that's what you look like. I'm going to treat what you look like. I'm not going to treat what's actually going on. So there's a big change with the technology, and it's nowhere more important than in sleep, because we can actually measure sleep through EEGs, and the sleep experts, you can actually get board certified in sleep now in medicine. And the sleep experts tell us that the brain does not reset until 8.25 hours of sleep have taken place. So what happens is, if you think about resetting your PC on your desktop and doing a defrag on your desktop, getting down to systems utilities, defragging your desktop, you can eat a ham sandwich while it's, you know, pulling itself together. Well, in the same way, sleep defrags the brain. So some of the other things we've talked about in previous segments, we've talked about being depressed, apathetic and indifferent, we've talked about ADD. All of these problems can affect sleep. So you could have several levels of fragmentation going on at the same time, with the outcome that the person doesn't sleep well. And one of the things that happens if a person doesn't sleep well is they can get pretty doggone loose. They can really have a significant problem. I've treated a number of individuals that really looked bipolar, sort of the wastebasket term. They don't sleep for a while, and then flip out one way or another, have a significant emotional problem, and then all of a sudden, hey, they're called bipolar and treated as an ongoing bipolar person, even though they haven't had bipolar illness before. So what happens is getting that sleep and getting it done well, especially in people who have shift work, police officers, firefighters, physicians. You know, I myself have had, you know, some shift work in my years going, and when that happens, yeah, I can tell you right here, you can lose it. And what happens is, and I can tell you some stories about that, we don't have enough time, but I can tell you I have lost it in the business of actually not getting sufficient sleep. And a lot of us do, and I'm sure a lot of your firefighters have.
What about interrupted sleep? That happens to us a lot. We wake up for a call, we go out, we get a couple hours here, a couple hours there. Is the mind really capable of capturing that 8.25 in an interrupted fashion, or is it better for us to have the full 8 hours?
It's better to have the full 8 hours, but you can recoup. If you say to yourself, look, I am sleep deprived right now, and using that term, which we started this interview with, it was like, I'm sleep deprived, I'm short on my hours, I got to figure out how to get this thing together. And I really need to make it up, as opposed to, look, I'm a guy, guys don't need sleep, I'm a warrior kind of person, and so, you know, give me 2-3 hours, I'll be in great shape, and I'll stack a few of these together, and then all of a sudden somebody's angry at another person where they never have been that way before, and they're out of line and called upon to, you know, they have some kind of negative consequences because they lost it. Well, they didn't lose it because they were mad at that guy, they lost it because their prefrontal cortex wasn't working well, based on the fact that they were running with a fragmented situation.
Now, when you say you do a couple hours here and there and you have your interrupted sleep, is it possible to catch up? If you go for a couple days and you have been lack of sleep and it's cumulative and you're getting more and more towards that point, is it possible to catch up, to make up the difference? Yeah,
you can catch up. The thing is, sometimes if you've really been sleep deprived for a long time, the catch up can be a week. Like, for example, we have people come in and see us and they've had sleep problems their entire lives. So if we give them a sleep medication and start working with them, it'll seem like the medication is excessive, because what's happening is all of a sudden they're sleeping like they've never slept before. They can be sleeping 10, 12 hours for a few days. But then what happens is they catch up and they kind of reset, and then they can come back to a 7 or 8 hour sleep. And, you know, and people watching this may say, well, I can't do 8 hours no matter what you say. Well, that's really not the issue. The issue is being aware of the process and of the concept that you can be sleep deprived, and your edge is going to deteriorate. You're going to lose it if you are sleep deprived.
Okay. So in closing, after these 3 segments, thank you very much for taking the time with us.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it.
Would you say that it's important for us to be very conscious of our own bodies, to know when we need sleep, when we need to eat, when we need to exercise, when we need all those type of things, and to look out for our fellow man and just kind of pay attention to what's going on with them so we check those warning signs? That's
what teamwork is all about. And when you see something with somebody else, to bring it to their attention, say, what's going on here? Let's see if we can work with you and help you out with this. Yeah.
So just having that conversation.
That's a lot better than being by yourself. A lot of times we wind up being by ourselves in business like this. And really, it's just a question of reaching out.
Okay, thank you very much. Again, in the studio with Dr. Parker. Remember that there are avenues for us out there in the fire service. Certainly EAP is an avenue to you. Certainly you have coworkers and people that you're close to. Maybe they've experienced a similar circumstance and can be a willing and ready resource for you. Just remember that it is important to know your body and to reach out and touch others.
I'm here with Captain Mike Mullins of the Virginia Beach Fire Department, and you're associated with Pink Heels. Tell me in what way?
We have recently opened a Virginia chapter of the Pink Heels movement, Guardians of the Ribbon, supporting all women and all cancers.
Great, and what's coming up for fundraisers in the near future?
We're going to be here at the Chiefs Conference, and we're moving towards purchasing our own pink fire truck, bringing it to Virginia Beach, and using it as a platform to raise awareness for women and women's cancers.
Great, thanks very much, Mike. Hope to see you out there soon raising some money.
We're here. Thank you.
Bobby, I understand you're just making some technology breakthroughs in the field of gathering evidence as far as a fire investigator would do so. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, the Fire Marshals Academy through the state, along with several other individuals, produced out of a spur of the moment type thing, a latex sprayed based product, liquid latex, on wood, metal, glass, painted surfaces to recover evidence, DNA, fingerprints, blood splatter, homicide, fire type scenes, and it's sprayed with a sprayer. You spray it on, you let it dry. It takes all the byproducts of combustion off that we normally would not find in a fire, and it recovers those prints, the DNA, that blood splatter, footprints, fingerprints, all of that we normally would have missed. And this was all done kind of in a fire station atmosphere. We came across it through information from Scotland Yard, actually, to try to get fingerprints off of a Molotov cocktail that was burnt. And normally, prior to us finding this, we weren't able to get that. So this has actually gone through the International Journal of Forensic Science. It's gone accredited through national. We've presented it in DC, Washington. And we just got published actually a couple of months ago, so it's actually pretty cool for somebody in Virginia, a group, to find this to help local law enforcement and fire to recover this evidence that we normally would have missed.
All right, thanks very much. Appreciate it.
All right.